All right, let's start writing this then. We've done this program before in other languages, okay? It'll be sort of GUI, but not really, in that it'll have a J option pane with a show input dialog that'll say enter a 0 to exit the program, enter a 1 to do this, enter a 2 to do that, etc. And when you enter it, you will get your output in a J option pane.show message dialog. All right? So, first thing that I'm going to want to do in here is we are going to work with a random number, so I am going to import java.util.random. Okay? That shouldn't be anything brand new to you, so please put that in. Okay? Now, we're going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 variables. These variables are going to be created here. We're not going to have a main in this file. We are going to create a driver for this program in just a minute, okay? But for now, up here, we want to create a bunch of variables. All right, so I'm going to have here int, bracket, bracket. Tell you what, rather than me saying it to you, I'll just do it. I'm going to make 3 of these. So you should be keying this stuff in. All right. Right? Those are our variables right here. So far we did an import java.util.random, and then we created, right underneath our public class name, we creating these 7 variables. The numbers original is going to be an array of 25 numbers, and that'll be the numbers in original order. Okay? The numbers ascending will be those 25 numbers in ascending order. The numbers descending will be those 25 numbers in descending order. Min will be the smallest number out of all of them. Max will be the largest number out of all of them. Sum will be the addition of all 25 of the numbers. And average will be the sum of those 25 numbers divided by 25. Questions on that? All right. So we're going to make just a single constructor in here. Literally just one. So come down here a little bit. A little comment there that says constructor, public, ArrayFun. Okay? Again, this will be my constructor. All right? So, what do I want to do in the constructor? What do we do in a constructor typically? Well, we're going to do our initialization. Everybody hear that? So we are going to initialize the variables. Okay? So I'm going down here now, and okay, I'm going to first say rand equals new random. Hopefully you remember by now that is doing what's called seeding the rand. Ideally, that's going to make sure that every time we run this program, every time we run it, that we are going to have different numbers. Okay? If it's numbers between 1 and 100, some of those numbers could repeat. I ran this program last night about 10 times, and every time I had numbers that repeated. That's okay. All right? So we want to go through this 25 times. This should be, as the saying goes, like the back of your hand now. To say for int LCV equals 0, LCV less than numbers original dot length plus plus LCV. So again, what does that mean? In other words, that means we're going through this 25 times. What we're doing right now, we're going to do 25 times. Did everybody hear that? All right. All right. So 25 times, I'm going to fill up all three of the arrays. Okay? That should make sense to everybody in here. What that's saying is that give me a random number between 1 and 100 and throw it into that array location. All right? Now, the ascending and the descending, we're not going to do those yet. We're going to call routines to put this in ascending order. We're going to call a routine to put it in descending order. So for right now, we're just going to copy what's in here into its, so we have three arrays. So if you look right here, we're just going to do this. Numbers, ascending, LCV equals this. And numbers descending, LCV, again, equals this. So look at it this way. I'm not going to make 100 of them, but let's say that I've got an array right here. And I've got an array that's got 5 numbers in it. All right? So this first one, I've got 5 numbers. So the first time through in location 0, it's going to put a 37 in location 0. In location 1, it puts a 41. In location 2, it puts a 79. In location 3, an 83. In location 4, an 8. Okay? Does that make sense? Then I'm just saying, take this from right here and copy it into here. Take, etc. Do that 5 times. So right now, as of right now, all 3 of these arrays are exactly identical to one another. That's fine, because it's the constructor. We've just started. All right. We're going to take our min. We want numbers between 1 and 100. We want to make sure that the first time we put a number in, it becomes our minimum. So I'm going to set min equal to 101. And I'm going to set max equal to 0. That way I can be 100% assured that the first time I go through this, whatever number I put in will become the min and the max. That's fine. That's what we want. No. Because if we put min at 0, that would always be the min, because the numbers we generate are going to be between 1 and 100. Same thing with max. So we're forcing it this way. All right, our sum, we're going to set equal to 0, and our average, which is a double, we'll set to 0.0. And that's it for our constructor. Any questions on anything I'm doing in there? Yes? No? No? Okay. Now, I'm done with my constructor. Okay? So I can just say, you don't have to do this, but okay. All right, so I'm down underneath my constructor. If you remember, because you've done this before, if you'd look up on the screen, and follow my lead, so to speak. We're all going to do code. So click code, choose generate. We'll start with getters. And we will do min, max, sum, and average. Don't put your arrays in there. That doesn't make any sense. So we'll highlight those four. So we did code, generate, we selected getter, and we're selecting these. All right, I'm going to click OK. Now I've got all four of my getters that I want. Now I'm going to put in my setters. So again, I'm going to go down to the bottom of my getters. Again, do a code, generate. This time choose setter, and the same four variables. Min, max.
Both at the same time.
Okay. Okay.
Right below that, it's getter and setter.
Okay. Did you hear that? You wanted to, you could have done code generate and chose getter and setter and done them both at once. I guess I never even noticed that. Thank you. All right. Because, as you all know, I'm a bit anal about this. I'm going to set this up so I've got comments before each one of these. I just like to do that. It makes it easier for me to read and to figure out what's going with what. You don't have to do that. You can do that. Totally up to you. All right. Okay. My get min, you know what? It's fine the way it is. My get max, that's fine the way it is. All right. My get average, that's fine the way it is. My get sum, that's fine the way it is. Do you all realize if we wanted to, if you look up on the screen here, we could type in return this dot min. That would be totally fine to do that. You are not required to do that, but again, many Java programmers preface virtually everything when they're working with their variables with this dot. Just so you know that's in there. That's the only reason I'm saying it to you. All right? So we now have our getter for our minimum, our getter for our maximum, our getter for our sum, and our getter for our average. They're all done. Okay? All right. So, time to go in and work on the setters, which is what I'm going to do right now. All right. So, I'm going to start with the set min. Okay. And if you notice, I've already initialized min right here, right? I initialized it to 101. Okay. So that's already been initialized. So I can come up here under my set min, and well, I can remove the line that says this dot min equal min. All right, because that's not what I want to do. All right, I'm going to put in a for loop. Think about play computer. What do I want to do? I've got 5 numbers. Again, we've got 25. I'm going to only put 5 here. Okay? I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, assume that's my biggest number. Then compare these two. That's still my biggest number. Then compare these two. Now that's my biggest number. Compare these two. It's still that one. Compare these two. It's still that one. So that now, I'm sorry, that's max. So 71, 10, 93, 8, and 57. Smallest, new smallest, still 10. 8's the smallest, 8's the smallest. So when I get done, that's the smallest, that's the largest. Make sense? All right. We've done this before, again, in other languages. So it should. All right. So I'm going to run through this loop again 25 times. It's like we did before. So for int LCV equals 0, LCV less than, and it doesn't matter which one, they're all 25 character, or got 25 in there, so I can put ascending. descending or original, it doesn't matter. Dot length, plus plus LCV. So again, I'm saying do this next thing 25 times, all right? If the current array element, which is sorry, that's wrong. So when I get done with this right here is going to hold the smallest number out of all of them. That should make sense to you. Again, we've done this before in other programming languages.
Get rid of the space next to your pluses, or does that not matter?
The space next to what? I'm sorry.
The
Here?
for loop?
It doesn't matter whether you put a space in there or not. If you like it better like that, then we'll do it like
Oh,
that.
no, not that.
Oh,
Plus LCD.
The plus plus LCD.
that would matter. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, don't have a space up here. Don't have plus plus space LCV. Have plus plus LCV. Thank you. So this is going to go through each of the 25 and do something similar to what I just showed you there. All right? Now, do me one favor if you would, please. Look up on the screen here, even if you're still typing. Does it make sense to you that when I write the other one, the set max, all right, when I do that one, what am I going to have to change? This is going to have to say greater than max, and this is going to have to say max. Does that make sense? It's the same flippin' routine, except I'm checking for the biggest one instead of the smallest one. So please, don't retype. Copy this right below, change the min to max, the min to max, the less than min to greater than max, and the min to max. And then you've got two of them written already. All right? It doesn't make sense for us to spend as much time typing as we appear to be spending typing. All right? So I'm going to grab everything that's in my for loop right there, copy it to the clipboard, go down to my next routine, which is here, paste in that for loop, okay, change the less than min to greater than max, change this min to max, and I'm now done with that routine. Again, to me at least, it just makes sense to write stuff that way. Now, you are still responsible. If you forgot to change this, you're going to get an error. If you didn't make it greater than max, if you made it less than max, you're going to get an error. So you are still responsible for going through your code and ferreting out errors that might be in it. If you look up on the screen, does it make sense? Our next thing is set sum. What we want to do basically is, if we use this as an example, we want to say sum equals 71 plus 10 plus 93 plus 8 plus 57. Does that make sense? All right. So again, I'm going to grab my for loop from here, copy it to the clipboard, go down to set sum, put that for loop in there, but get rid of the whole if that's in there and just say sum plus equals. That is that whole routine. Now, I put a lot of comments in mine. Mine is about, what, 6 pages? I'm already on page 4. All right? So far, if you look up on the screen here, we came in, we did our getters, we didn't change them at all, we did our setters. There's our set min. Our set max is exactly the same, except instead of less than or equal to min, it's greater than equal to max, and instead of setting equal to min, we set it equal to max. Now we came in and we just said sum is basically an accumulator. All right? So, the next one we want to write is the average. That's even simpler than the one we just wrote. We're going to say here average equals what's that?
You need to have the parentheses double.
Yes, we're going to go over what that means in just a minute. Question just got asked, if you look up on the screen here, do we need that double in parentheses? If you see it, it's up in blue. Remember, that's doing a cast, okay? If I add these numbers up right here, I don't know what they equal. I don't care. Let's assume that together, collectively, they equal 286. All right, so that now is sum. If I take 286 and I divide that by 25, I'm going to get, I don't care again, let's just say 11. All right, in fact, let's say it's not 11. Yeah, it's 11 point, let's say 3678 as an example. All right. Well, right now, it's an integer divided by an integer. So it's going to throw away this. By putting that double in there, it is now doing this. So it'll give me that portion back. So we are doing, that's called an explicit cast. We are doing an explicit cast on here. All right? And I didn't mean to mislead you, but in a way, I guess I did. And that is, we're down near the bottom here now, okay? We are going to have, for those two of those arrays, not the original array, but for the descending and ascending arrays, those two arrays. So for the array that's called numbers ascending and the one called numbers descending, all right, we're going to have, for both of those, I don't think we need any, double check to be sure. We're going to have a setter for each one of those. No getters, but if you look up on the screen, I'm right here, right there, and I want to come in here and do my code generate, and I want to choose setter, and I do want my numbers ascending and my numbers descending. Not the original. We've already filled in the original array, but we are going to set those. All right? That should do something similar to what you see on the screen right here. Okay? We're going to rewrite both of these routines, but at least you've seen them. This is the first time we have ever generated a setter without generating a getter. All right? We're not doing getters here. So we have to write both of these routines. Okay? When we write this routine, it's going to be virtually the same routine that we run twice. Did everybody hear what I just said? We're going to virtually write the same routine twice. All right? But one time, we want the numbers to go from 1 to 10, or 1 to 100. The other one, we want to go from 100 to 1. Does that make sense? All right? So, let's do it. And when we get done with this, routine, copy it to the other routine, because then we'll make just a couple changes. And the good news is, then we're pretty much going to be done with this. All right, so I don't want that in there. So I'm going to start writing code right now. This is just a temporary variable. Okay? Do you need it? You will. Okay? So, I'm not going to use LCV here. I'm going to just use J and K. If you don't know what I mean, just watch. Okay? I don't know if you need a paren here, but I'm going to put parens around this anyway, just to be sure. All right? Probably can get away without using parens there, but I'm putting them in anyway. Oh, what did we say before? We could do this. We could make this into a variable, right? Correct? Okay. I'm just going to leave it the way it is, but we could have made that into a variable. Okay? So in other words, we could have come in here and said this. Int result 1 equals, and then set this. And if we did that, then we could come in here and say less than result 1. All right? If you'd rather do it that way, do it. I'm going to do it this way, so hopefully at least you can see everything that we're doing right here. That's my goal. Okay? All right. So, now we want to check in this inner for loop, I guess I've got ascending, and that's, of course, that'd be the one I'm using. What's wrong here? Dot length. Okay. All right. And the good news, that's the whole thing. Now, I'm not going to say to you, hey, does that totally make sense? Maybe it makes no sense. But what it's saying is, compare this number with the one next to it. So if you look, 71 and 10. 10 is less than 71, correct? So flip them. So now I've got 10, 71, 93, 8, and 53. So just keep collectively comparing them. In fact, I think we're going the other way, not this way. So when we get done, 8 will be here. Then we will run through it again, and 10 will be here. Then again, 53, then again, 71, then what's left is 93. Okay? And if you say, could you explain that better than that? I will. How about this? I literally Googled how to do that sort in Java. And basically grabbed their code and put it in here. All right? And if you're going to say, isn't there a better way to do it than this? Yes. And you're going to tell me what it is in just a little bit. You are, sir. You're going to tell me what it is. You'll know. You'll know in just a couple minutes. All right. Is there a better way of doing it? Yes. There is a lot better way of doing it than this. All right? The thing that sometimes people find weird is, wait a minute, you're doing greater than, and it's ascending. Yeah. And when we do descending, we're going to do less than. So our next routine is exactly the same as this routine, right there. All right? And I believe, I could be wrong, but there's just a couple things we have to change. Like what, Jeff? Like everywhere it says numbers ascending, we change it to numbers descending. Does that make sense? Because we're doing the descending array. Whoops. That was interesting. All right. And the other thing, if you look on the screen here, where we've got a greater than sign right there, make sure you make that one a less than sign. Okay? So where we've got the greater than sign right there, make that a less than sign. All right? So the good news is, on my handout here, we have now written almost 5 pages worth. We have to write one more routine, and that is we have to override the toString method. Everybody hear that? We've done this before. We're about to override the toString method. If you haven't done so, and I haven't, probably a good time to do a file, save all, so you don't lose any of the changes and any of the stuff that you put in here. All right? So let's override the toString method right now. Bless you. All right. So this will be public string to string. We'll pass nothing in. Oops. Okay. Now, you should know by now, if you look up on the screen, you should know that the reason we're getting those underlines, those red underlines, is this says we're returning a string. Right now, we're not returning anything. Okay? We are going to have 1, 2, 3 different for loops in here. All right? The same for loop 3 times where we're going to do different things. All right? And if that confuses you, just bear with me a little bit, all right? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own LCV. So int LCV, and I'm going to set that equal to 0. LCV, again, if you don't remember, that's loop control variable. All right? I'm going to have a string I call originals. You can call it whatever you want. And it's going to be set equal to original array values. I'm going to have another one that's going to be called ascending. That I'm going to set equal to ascending array values. And I'll have one more, maybe you've already guessed, that's called descending. That's going to be equal to descending array values. All right. I also created another string variable that for right now, I just called the string. And I set that equal to the empty string. All right, so those are my variables in here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to build all this stuff. So I want to, basically, I want this, I want it to say, boom, I want it to put in there all 25 numbers in the original order. Does that make sense? All right. Then, all right, I want this to give me those 25 numbers in ascending order. Then I want this to give me those 25 numbers in descending order. Does all that make sense? All right. And I literally, so I want this. So this one right here, if we look at, at what we had there originally, this one should say like original array values. Then it'll say 71, 10, 93, 8, 57. All right. Then in the ascending array values, it should say what? 8, 10, 53, 71, 93. Then when we do the descending, it should say 93, 71, 53, 10, 8. Does all that make sense? All right. And I'm looking on here. It looks as though I may not have printed out a piece of a page of the code, but we're going to find out in just a second. All right. So 3 times I'm going to put in this loop. LCV equals 0, LCV less than, numbers are not, I want numbers original, dot length -1 plus LCV. Okay? Remember, what I want this to say is I want it to say all 5 numbers. So 71, 10, 93, 8, 57. Okay? But what I don't want is I don't want another comma at the end. I don't want that because that looks unprofessional. That's why I'm telling it to only go to the second last number. Because I'm going to put the number in and then a comma every time. But when I get done, then I'm going to add the last number. Okay? And if you don't understand, just watch if you would, please. So I'm going to say here, originals plus equals string dot value of, oh my God, numbers original LCV plus a comma. All right. If we were to run that right now, it would look like this. 71, 10, 93, 8, and that wouldn't be there. That's what I want you to understand. That wouldn't be there because we told it to stop one short of the end. All right? So we have to manually put that in outside of the loop. So we say here, originals plus equals string dot value of numbers original, not numbers descending, Jeff, LCV. So this line, this last line that we just put in here, this line that's right here, that line is going to add the last number. But now we don't have to worry about there being a comma at the end. All right? And again, you might think, well, who cares? You should care. All right? So, what we're going to do now is virtually the same thing. If you look up on the screen, I'm going to highlight all of this that I just put in, all of that. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to hit enter a couple times, and I'm going to paste that in. But now I want to go to numbers ascending dot length, all right, and I want to add that to my ascending string. That's got to be ascending. That has to be ascending. And that has to be ascending. All right. Anybody want to take a wild guess at what we have left? What? That would make sense to me. So we're going to copy it one more time, and this time we're going to use numbers descending. All right, go back and look. Make sure you got numbers original, originals, original, numbers original, numbers ascending, numbers ascending, 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 numbers ascending, and numbers descending, 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 and numbers descending. We're not done yet, okay? We're not done yet. Every once in a while, I do something where it's like, oh my God, this is actually what I wanted them to do, and I screwed up and told it to you wrong, but the way I told you wrong is what I actually wanted you to do. So this is a good thing, yes.
So, I had some confused. So the originals, like, should mean for any of them, I guess. Why do you put numbers descending LCV instead of like 25? Take it the last one.
For right,
How does it,
for what?
for like?
Because
outside
I'm doing the length here.
Yeah, so that gets you the first 24.
Right.
And outside,
And now,
does it just
okay.
use that one?
Thank you, audience plan. Great question. Okay, remember how I told you I did this outside of the loop? Remember that? You see how that's outside of the loop? If I had done this, if I had said here, int, so I'm going to get an error, but let's pretend we didn't have that line. So if I did this, then I couldn't use that outside of the loop. But since I declared LCV outside of the loop, all right, I don't even have to initialize it, but since I declared it there, that means it's now available both in the loop and outside of the loop. And now it has the value in there, 24, which is the last element.
So why does that get to 24? Just because?
Because in here, I'm going from 0 to the length, which is 25, right?
Yeah.
Minus 1.
Okay,
Well,
so then,
really, basically, it's going to go here from 0 to 23.
right.
And so this now I've added 1 to it because I did this, which pops it out of the loop, but now the value here is 24.
Okay, got it.
All right?
I was just wondering if.
Hey, please, I mean, it's funny. I had a guy come up this morning and ask me like 6 questions. He said, I'm sorry I'm asking questions. And I said, I thank God when you ask questions. If you don't understand, you should ask. And if you still don't understand, you should ask again.
I thought it was just going to display like all the.
Right now, it's not displaying a darn thing because we're not done yet.
I just meant like just in general. Once we put the display stuff on,
Yes.
it would display all of them because you said just LCD because it just adds when it makes sense.
Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten down to the bottom, we've got to add stuff remember this thing right here that we haven't used yet that's called the string? Remember that? That's going to hold everything that's in all three of these. Plus it's going to hold our minimum, plus it's going to hold our maximum, plus it's going to hold our sum, plus it's going to hold our average. Okay? So, the string, we're going to do this plus equal, we're going to do this 7 times. And why I do that, I have no idea. All right, I'll just do them separate. Plus, the string plus equals originals plus, we'll put in a couple \n's just so it looks kind of nice. So I'm going to do that every time. In fact, I'm going to just copy this. All right. Now that I've got the string built, I have to return it. What isn't it like? Cannot return a value from a method with, oh, that shouldn't be. Oh, everybody look up here. Yeah, public string. No, but it's, no, what's the problem here? It's saying void. Public string to string. Isn't that correct? Public string to string, paren, paren. All right, so it's giving me an error here that says something expected. It's telling me here, I think I have, somehow I lost that there. I don't know how. Somehow I lost a curly brace. Now it's working, and I don't have the error. All right, now's the telling time. All right, so I'm going to do a save all. I'll go back and show you the code if you haven't seen it all. Oh, what's the problem? What's the problem, Ethan? What method did we not write? You're shaking your head. I'll give you a hint. PSV. What method did we not write? We did not write a main. So we can't run this program. So what are we doing? Make sure you do a file, save all. Go back up to here. Right mouse click on your folder. Choose new Java class. Don't say edu.rankin, etc. But we call this ArrayFun driver. And you're going to like this because it's literally one line after we write it. All right? So how do we write the ArrayFun driver? Well, got it written right here. And this is the whole thing. Array, sorry. So the whole thing is ArrayFun, I just call it AF for ArrayFun, equals new ArrayFun. That's it. That's the whole thing. We're telling it to make a new ArrayFun object. That's all we're doing. Now I'm going to do it to a file, save all, and I'm going to try to run it. See what happens. Why is it not giving me that? Save all. Oh, because I didn't put it. Ethan, come on. You're screwing up here. You got to stick it in main.
I was waiting on when we were going to make that other class.
Here. All right. Now, file, save all, run. There it is, ArrayFun driver. All right. Now I see if I had any mistakes, any errors in here or not. I very well could have. Well, it came back with it didn't give me any output, so that's not good. All right. So something's screwed up. I think I might know what it is, so I'm going to try to see if I can fix it. I'm going to add one more line to my driver. All right. I'm going to say system.out.println AF. And I'm telling it to print ArrayFun. And hey, look, there's the original array. There it is. Well, for some reason it's not, that isn't right, and that isn't right, but it is printing out all my stuff. See that? All right. Now, I'm cool with this not working, and I want to tell you why. All right? Where are we here? We're at 53 minutes. Somebody time me because I want to tell you why, and I want us to do this in about 5 minutes. Okay, look up on the screen. Everybody, even if you still got stuff to type in. All right? Okay. I went out to the internet and I said, hey, Java must have a sort method. And it does. So what I want you to do is to go into your ascending and descending ones, okay? And I want you to go look online. I want you to comment out what you've got in there right now. Comment out the entire routine and replace it with one flippin' line. Okay? And this isn't the only one. This has just happened to be the first one that came up when I did it. All right, so you don't have to use this one. There are tons of examples out there. All right? There's the one for array sort. Guess what? There is another one that tells you how you can reverse things. Java has a sort method. It does not have a reverse method. Okay? What did I just say? What did I just say?
Something about...
No, tell me what I said. Not something about. I said Java has a sort method. All right? Which will put your array in ascending order. It does not have a reverse sort method. It does not have a reverse method. Did everybody hear that? But one thing that you can do is you can use an array list and then reverse that. And you're like, I don't have a clue as to what the hell you're talking about. Well, we didn't do a flippin' thing with array lists, so we are now. All right? I will email you all 3 of these links. Okay? And everybody remember, I'm asking you, do you all remember what a binary search is? I take this array and put it in order. So I have to take the array and put it in sorted order. So in sorted order, it's 8, 10, 53, 71, 93. Now it's in order. Okay? So I come in there and I say, is 60 in this? Is 60 in here? You know it's not. But the way that you do that is it goes right in the middle. It grabs that one and it says, okay, is that the number? No. Is it higher or lower than that number? You can all see it's higher, correct? So these three are now gone from consideration. Okay? So it cuts it in half again and it checks this one. And it says, okay, is that the number? No. Is it higher or lower? It's lower. So that's the only one to check. So it checks this one. It's not in there. And if you say, I don't get it, guess what? You don't have to, because Java has a binary search method. I want you to add that. I want you to add a routine that asks the user if they want to check the array, all right? And which array are they going to check? Are they going to check numbers original, numbers ascending, or numbers descending? Which one?
Ascending.
What?
Ascending.
Yeah, they're going to check numbers ascending. So if you have to, you call your routine to put them in ascending order first, so you're sure that it's in ascending order. All right? Then you run the binary search method. Okay? One other thing I want you to do, I want you to replace my system.out.printlines with J option panes. Everybody cool on that? Understand what I'm saying? You won't need any show input dialogues except for your binary search. All right? Everything else that's in there, you're going to have. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go into this program that we've done as a class, and I'd like you to add the binary search method. So let's put in the steps. First, change the sort to add a Java sort. 2, so that you're going to change your numbers ascending. 2, you're going to change your numbers descending, all right, to add an array list. 3, you're going to add a binary search method. And 4, you are going to replace the system.out.println with J option pane. All right? So do you understand what it is you are supposed to do? You've got the program approximately, I would say, 80 to 85% done. You have to complete the rest of it. Questions? All right. You got the rest of the period. It's not due at the end of the period. But my hope is that by Friday, all the programs we've done up until that point, you can give them to me. That'll be your next set of programs to grade. Does that make sense? All right, so tomorrow we're going to write a program that's much shorter than this. It's a palindrome program. If you don't know what a palindrome is, it's a word the same forwards and backwards. So Bob is a palindrome. But we're going to write it so we can put anything we want in there. So I can put in B071, comma, asterisk, B. And we'll throw out everything that's not a letter, and we'll take it all and we'll uppercase it, and then we'll look and see if it's the same forwards and backwards. And that's about 70, 75 lines, something like that. We'll do that. That won't be part of your test. Then for Friday, I'll give you a practice test, and I'll give you 2 hours to work on it. All right? Questions? All right, just to make sure that, because we went through this fairly quickly, I'll print out how many people would like a hard copy of what we just did. All right, at least 2 of you. Anybody else? Okay, then I'll print out 2 of them. And if anybody else wants it, then just come up and talk to me later, and I'll be more than happy to print one out for you. All right, so you know what you're doing now for the rest of the period? It should give you a good start. Now it's up to you, Tiffany. If you want, I'll give you back your test, and you can work on that till the end of the period, okay? All right, yes, sir.
Just one of them, like Marvin's.
You can have that. Okay. I feel bad for you. You have to sit there and listen to me for, go on for 5 minutes. And just so you know, remember when I just ran it, there are mistakes in my program right now. In other words, when it's not setting the minimum and the maximum. It says min array value is 101, max is 0, sum is 0, and average is 0. You've got to figure that out. I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure I know what it is, and they're not very major things. Just go through the code. All right? Sometimes going through somebody else's code and figuring out all the goofy places they made errors is a good way for you to learn. You may or may not agree with that. So if you would look up here, by Monday of next week, when you take your test, I'll want all the OOP programs that you've done, this array one that we're working on now completed, and the palindrome one. All right? I don't know how I will grade those, but I will, yes.
I've seen a couple of them. For some reason, I'm not able to print out anything. So,
Go back to there, let's see. So what happens when you do that? Nothing?
yeah, some of them.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I
remember,
guess it is.
what does it say? I don't see, I can't read
It
that.
just says, EU ranking, Williams ArrayFun at.
Okay, that means there's a problem with your two-string. So where's your two-string method? String. Is that little t? That'd be enough to screw it up. Save and try it again.
That's it. Okay.
Okay. So again, if you want your test regraded, all right, please work on it and give it to me by the end of the period. Tiffany, since I gave them overnight, I'll give you until tomorrow when class, still 1 o'clock tomorrow, so.